Last night in Muncie, New York, which is a small hamlet about just north of New York City, there was a, a suspect who burst into the home of a rabbi where there was a Hanukkah celebration and, according to witnesses, used either a knife or a machete to launch an attack. Immediately, five people were injured, one seriously, and the suspect fled in a car and fortunately was apprehended in Harlem, New York City.
Was it a difficult operation to capture him? Do we know?
No, so there's been security footage released that was recorded outside the home when the suspect fled in the car. One of the brave men inside the home went out and got the license plate number of the car and alerted authorities. New York City has various security cameras that can detect the license plates of cars coming into the city. So he was found pretty quickly and apprehended. And today he was charged with 5 counts of attempted murder.
How serious are the injuries that several of the people present have sustained?
From what I know and what's been stated online from those in the community, I should backpedal a little bit and just provide a little context. Muncie is a part of a small town that has a very large number of ultra Orthodox Jewish citizens. And so many of the videos and updates that have been coming out have been released through those who are part of this close knit community. Um, one of the one of the most seriously injured is in hospital still, and the updates that I've seen are from people asking for prayers for this individual's recovery because he was slashed quite severely across his body.
There's been a real sense of shock, hasn't there, about this attack?
There has, because this follows now 8 other anti-Semitic incidents in New York City and the surrounding area in just the past week. I'll go through. I mean, since Christmas Eve all the way until last night, there's been an incident pretty much every day, and sometimes multiple incidents reported in the day, violent incidents, many of them happening in Brooklyn, which is one of the boroughs in New York that has a high concentration of ultra Orthodox Jews. Some of the discussions that are going on is right now in the US is asking, why is this happening now? The truth is, anti-Semitic attacks have been happening for a long time in New York City, but they usually don't get much media attention because I think it doesn't fit what people want the narrative to be. In Brooklyn, you have ultra Orthodox communities living in parallel with Puerto Ricans and in parallel with Black Americans, and the boundaries of these communities push up against one another and expand and retract. And um, for a long time now, there have been issues going on, tensions with the Black American communities and the Hasidic communities, leading to a number of vandalisms uh, at synagogues and attacks on Jewish citizens. I think this week it just bubbled into what has now become a national discussion because of the fact that so many of the incidents happen in one day after the other, day in and day out. And particularly what's quite shocking is that this comes on the heels of an anti-Semitic attack in Jersey City, which is nearby New York City, earlier this month, where um, a man and a woman killed a law enforcement officer and then launched a attack at a kosher deli and killed 3 people there. There's just been so many incidents in the small geographical area.
And given that picture you describe, what sort of steps are the authorities taking to bring a halt to this?
So on Friday, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced that he would be sending in additional patrols to Jewish neighborhoods in Brooklyn, because that's where a lot of the anti-Semitic incidents, such as people getting cursed at, hit, punched, slapped, have happened in Brooklyn. Um, just a few hours ago, the mayor did another press conference and announced that there would be more police, uh, increasing patrols, and in the installation of more security cameras to help catch perpetrators.
It has also fed into a broader national question about anti-Semitism involving Republicans and Democrats, hasn't it? Lots of blame going around and so on.
Much of the national discourse for a long time on anti-Semitism in America has focused on the violent threat that has come from the far right or neo-Nazis and white supremacists, while there's been a complete blind eye to anti-Semitism coming from other uh, communities in the United States. And the incidents that have happened in the New York City area have involved suspects who are people of color. And that's an uncomfortable discussion for a lot of people to have because it doesn't fit neatly into a certain narrative. But in addition to that, a lot of the criticisms that are coming from Republicans, as well as many in the Orthodox Jewish community, is that New York City is too lax on violent crime. In that, just recently, the city had passed a new law. It is a bail reform, and so many of the some of the suspects that were arrested and charged for their alleged involvement in the violent attacks this past week were arrested and then immediately released and didn't even have to pay bail under these new criminal justice reforms.